Hello, my name is Mark Sherwood, and in this lesson I'm going to be talking to you about using an adaptation period. And an adaptation period is something that you use to prevent the pattern that kills progress, where you're always trying to increase the difficulty of the exercise stress from one workout to the next while your body is trying to make the workouts easier. So what I will do instead is use an adaptation period where I find a strategic level of effort and I just level off at that same level throughout the whole adaptation period, and I let my body achieve its goal of making a training stress easier during that adaptation period. And so I'm going to be using that adaptation period in conjunction with the strategic amount of effort means to use precision points. So I will use it in conjunction with the marker rep and the marker set. So if I'm using it with the marker rep, then I'm training up to my marker rep as I ordinarily would, and then I use the adaptation period as a period of time where I'll keep on hitting that marker rep until the marker rep over a period of workouts becomes easier and easier until it becomes a limit rep where I can continue using the same amount of speed or rep rhythm throughout that whole set without having to slow down. Now, at the end of that adaptation period, then I can add on a little bit of weight and start a new adaptation period and start that whole process over again. Now, another thing that I can do is use the adaptation period in conjunction with the marker set. I believe the most important adaptation is to use it with the marker rep and let that marker rep transition into a limit rep, which is why I call that marker rep transition training. So that is a very important adaptation, but you can also use it with the marker set. And in using it with the marker set, I am simply going to stop at my marker set like I always do, which means the set where I became weaker and I couldn't do as many reps as I could on the previous sets. And in the example that I gave, that was the fourth set. And so on that marker set, or in this case the fourth set, I was only able to do 8 reps instead of 10 like I could on those previous sets. And I hit my marker rep before I got to 10, but if I allow my body to adapt, then it's going to become stronger, and eventually I'll be to the point where I will be just as strong on that fourth set as I was on the first, second, and third set, which of course means that I need to give myself time to do that, and I would use the adaptation period to let that happen. So the adaptation period is a little bit different reference to the marker set because you're actually adding a little bit onto it, whereas with the marker rep, you're not adding anything on. You're just doing the same amount of reps every time, and you're letting that set become easier over time. Now, the adaptation period is going to vary according to your experience level and how many adaptations your body has already been through. So somebody who's a beginner is going to be able to adapt a lot faster and a lot quicker. They may be able to adapt within a week or two before being able to add on a little bit more weight and start a new adaptation period. But then somebody who's an intermediate, for instance, 3 months to a year of training behind them, then they may need 4 or 5 or 6 weeks in order to make the adaptation. And then if you're an advanced trainer who's been training for a year or longer, then you might need 6 or 7 or 8 weeks to make that adaptation. So you have to kind of experiment, and that adaptation period can change depending upon the amount of experience that you've had. But it does help you to avoid the pattern that kills progress. It allows you to make small adaptations instead of big adaptations that your body doesn't want to make. So use the adaptation period. It helps you to avoid the pattern that kills progress.